Yo people, Wagwan, welcome back to Ron's Tech Hub again, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to install Elementary OS from a bootable drive on a memory stick. And again, I'm using Ventoy. If you want to see how to use it, go ahead and watch my previous video. I show you how to install Ventoy, how to copy your operating systems to it. Let's get started. Step one, just like before, is I'm going to plug in my memory stick to my PC. I'm going to power the PC on, and again, I need to get to my boot menu. And to get to the boot menu, I need to find my boot menu key. For the Dell Optiplex I'm using, it's either F10 or F12. Again, I didn't bother checking. So your boot menu key, you can find it by Googling. So for example, let's say you have a Dell XPS 15 or an HP something. You type in HP boot menu key into Google and you're going to find exactly the one for your PC. From there, make your bootable drive. I'm going to turn mine on now and keep spamming F10 and F12 because I don't remember which one it is. Power my PC on. I'm going to press both of these. Just keep pressing them until you see that thing on screen. The boot screen or the splash screen is going to be different for everyone. It's going to be, you should see the manufacturer of your PC on your screen. So this is my boot menu, and in my boot menu I've got two options: Legacy boot, which is the one at the top, and down here I've got UEFI boot. That's the newer version. Legacy boot is going to be for older PCs and UEFI is going to be for newer PCs. They will both work perfectly fine. You don't have to worry about one not working because of whatever reason. They will both work perfectly fine, but for me, because I have a relatively newer system, I'm going to go to where it says UEFI and the name of my memory stick. All the other stuff that you see, in most cases you should only see Windows Boot Manager. If you're coming from Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10 or Windows 11, you should only see Windows Boot Manager. If you see anything else, don't worry about it. Simply go to where the name of your memory stick is. So for me, it's going to be UEFI Kingston Data Traveler 3.0. So on here, I'm going to navigate using my arrow keys on my keyboard, and I'm going to press enter to activate that one. Then it's going to boot into Ventoy, which is a tool I showed you guys how to install in a previous video. If you're not sure how to do this, go back and watch that video, because the benefit of this, again, I'll show it here anyway, that you can have as many operating systems on a single memory stick as you want. So if you're coming from Windows or coming from something else and you want to try out as many operating systems as you want, this is a really good way to do it, because you could simply test it from the memory stick without having to install anything and see which one you like best. I'm going to go to where it says Elementary OS 8. This is mainly going to be for people who really like the look of macOS but want to move away from Windows or macOS. This is really good. It's really lightweight as well versus Windows. So I'm going to press enter on that. It gives me four options: boot in normal mode, boot in grub, file checksum, return to previous menu. Obviously I want to boot in normal mode. Don't worry about grub 2 right now. Press enter there. It says I can try or install Elementary OS. I can try or install Elementary OS using safe graphics or advanced options. Don't worry about anything else just yet. If this doesn't work the first time, then you might need to go to safe mode. What safe mode is going to do is, if you have an NVIDIA graphics card or an AMD graphics card, it's probably going to work for you. In recent years, I haven't had any issues installing just using the first method. So I'm going to click on that first one. If you have an icon like this on your screen that's very big, don't worry, it will resize itself once it gets the right driver working. There we go. So mine's now resized. All right, so this is what it boots into. I think by far this is the most elegant looking one. However, if you're not a fan of macOS, you're not going to like this one. So I'm going to go to where it says English at the very top there. I'm going to go to select. It's done that. I'm going to go to UK. I'm going to go to select again. I'm going to choose a UK keyboard. If you're not entirely sure what keyboard you have, what you can do is simply start typing in this box down here, and it will simply detect what type of keyboard you have. This is very similar to Ubuntu and Linux Mint, because this is actually based on those operating systems as well. So that's why it's so similar. I'm going to leave mine as UK, leave mine as default. Now straight away we have three options. We can try demo mode, which is where you get to play around with the operating system as it is. You don't need to install anything and it will work perfectly fine. Next we have erase disk and install, which is the option I'm going to choose. And finally there's also custom install, which is advanced, which might allow you to install this operating system alongside another one. But for me, I don't want to do that. I'm going to simply erase disk and install. If at this point you haven't backed up everything from your previous Windows PC, this is where you would need to go back up every single picture, video, document, audio file, everything that you have, because after you do this process where you do erase and install this, you will lose everything. If you do that third option, you will save some of your stuff. However, I find that if you install Windows alongside any distro, what will happen is that the Windows side will get messed up later on. So I don't particularly like doing that. However, if you want to try it, go ahead and try it. It does work, but things just get messy after a while. So I'm going to go to where it says erase disk and install. Click on erase disk and install. Now I need to choose the drive that I want to install it to. The first drive is my SSD inside my PC. The second one is a memory stick that's plugged into my computer. So for me, I'm going to want to choose the first one. Then I'm going to choose next. And again, this is the same options that you got in Ubuntu and Mint. It's just that here they're displayed slightly differently. I'm going to click on next again. Now this is where you have a password for your system. I'm not going to encrypt my system because again, I'm not going to be using this for very long. However, if you're somebody that uses this as a main PC, if you're somebody that uses this at work, at school, in an office, wherever, I would highly recommend encrypting it. but please remember the password, because this is not one of those systems where if you forget your password, you can still get stuff off it. No, it's going to be gone. It's going to be locked away. You won't be able to get anything. So please remember your password. I'm going to go to where it says don't encrypt, but for you guys, I would highly recommend encrypting. Just before that, I'm going to click on where it says include third-party proprietary drivers. So it will check for any drivers that I need to be installed. And drivers are simply tiny pieces of software that help your hardware work. So if you have a special mouse or a special keyboard, a special webcam, a special microphone, this will help it work better. I'm going to do erase and install and wait for it to finish. Installation finished. I'm going to allow it to reboot. All I'm going to do now is unplug my memory stick. Then I'm going to press enter on my keyboard, and that should restart the system and allow me to boot directly into my operating system. System just restarted, and I need to go ahead and do my language and keyboard settings again. So I'm going to choose my language as English, go back to UK again. So this is all the stuff that we did before, but because this is a very fresh install, it's going to ask the same stuff again, only because the first time we did it, it only held that information temporarily, whereas this moving forward is going to be permanent. Select UK for me, select UK down here. Default is fine. And again, if you're not entirely sure what keyboard layout you have, if you click in the box down here and start typing, it will find it. Click select. My name, I'm going to put King Boss. Choose a password. This account is just a local account. This doesn't link to the internet anywhere. You don't have to have a login to do anything else. This is just a login to the PC, nothing else. I'm going to click on finish setup, and here we go. This is how we log in. So again, this looks very similar to macOS. If you're not a fan of macOS, you're not going to be a fan of this. It looks exactly the same. I personally like the interface of this. I just wish there were a few tweaks that they made by default, or gave you the option at setup to choose. Put your password in and log in. There's a welcome screen here, which I think might be quite useful for a few new people. So I'm going to go to next. I'm going to choose the default layout, but you can choose between any of these and it will change stuff in the system. But I'm going to leave mine as default, and I'm going to go to next. I'm going to turn on nightlight because I like protecting my eyes. And click on next. So it's asking you if you want to get rid of files after 30 days. I personally don't like using this feature, but again, if you're someone that doesn't need to have your old files saved just to keep your system super clean, it will delete your downloaded files after 30 days. All the temporary files are files created from like programs and downloads and stuff you install, you can get rid of those. Any screenshots you take will be gone after 30 days, and anything you put in the trash will also be gone after 30 days. I'm not going to use this feature, so I'm going to unclick everything because I want to have access. I want to be able to delete whatever I want when I want it. But again, this is for people who don't want to interact with the system much. You just want to just use the computer for the basic stuff and move on. I'm going to click on next. Now you can connect online accounts, but I'm not going to be doing this. If you want to do that, simply click on it, go ahead and log into your online accounts, and you will have access to everything. I'm going to click next. Here we can go ahead and get some apps. I'm going to click on the first one where it says get apps made for Elementary OS and reviewed by Elementary on App Center. So I'm going to click on that first one. That should open up a new thing where it allows me to. For this one, I would highly suggest clicking on that first one because that's going to be stuff that's compatible with this specific operating system. Now you can install anything and it will just work, but that's just the easiest and safest place to get stuff from initially. I'm going to click on next. We have automatic updates, so I'm definitely going to click on automatic updates. So that will install updates as soon as you restart your system. Just keeps you nice and up to date, keeps you safe, keeps everything running nicely. Then I'm going to click on next and then finally get started. Once I clicked on next from the App Center, this is what came up. So this is the App Center that they have. They made their own apps, but you can also find other apps in here as well. So if I go to the search bar here, the top right hand corner, the search icon, I'm going to click on that and I'm going to type in VLC. That's something I always install. That first one there is the one I need. So I'm going to click on where it says free, or just click on it and it will just start downloading and installing directly from here. So you don't need to go into it then install it. I like this feature quite a bit. So the next one I'm going to choose is Chrome, CHROME. Chrome is here as well. So I'm going to choose a second one, not the one that says unstable. I'm going to move over to where it says free and click install. This is how we install our apps. I'm going to search again. I'm going to search for, let's do OBS. OBS Studio is that one here. So I'm going to move my mouse over, click on free, and this is how we install apps from the App Center. Now, if by some reason you close the App Center, you moved it off, you don't know how to get to it, I'm going to close mine. And by the way, to close a window, it's not the traditional X on the right hand side. Now it's an X on the left hand side like macOS. That's why I said to you guys, this is very reminiscent of macOS. So I'm going to click on the X to close it. The App Center icon doesn't actually look like an App Center icon. It just looks like a house. I don't know why they chose a house, but it's a house. The bottom of your screen where your taskbar is, you're going to click on that one and that's going to open the App Center again. From here, this is where you can search and install whatever you want. So I'm going to search for, let's search for PyCharm. I use that for programming. Perfect. That comes up as well. But the one I do want to try out is OnlyOffice. So this is a free alternative to Microsoft Office. It works completely free. It looks exactly the same and everything just works. I'm going to go over to free. I'm going to install this. And whilst I'm installing this, I'm going to go around the system and show you guys a few things. So let me close the App Center now. Unlike some of the operating systems where you would have a start menu in the bottom left, because it's like macOS, you have a start menu in the top left. So you click on applications. It comes up with all these different apps that you can scroll through. And the default browser on here is just called Web, W-E-B. I went ahead and installed Google Chrome anyway. You do have a default mail app on here, but you can download things like Thunderbird. You can also obviously access your emails from the websites as well. So that's what I prefer to do. I think OnlyOffice has finished installing. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to click on OnlyOffice to show you what this looks like. This is how it comes up. I prefer this interface to some of the other ones I've seen. I'm going to click on Word document, so DOCX document. As you guys can see, this looks exactly like Microsoft Word. Everything is in the right place. Everything is in the same place. Everything works just the same. So I'm going to do test document. I'm going to close it. This is why I don't like some of the features of this operating system, because to close a default window from the operating system itself, the X is on the left. When you have another application, the X is on the right hand side. I think if they just kept things consistent or asked people, where would you like your buttons to be for close, minimize, and maximize, then that would be quite cool. So I'm going to click on the X here to try and close it. It's asking me if I want to save it. I'm going to choose yes. I'm going to choose to save this in my documents folder. And from here, I'm just going to leave it as test document as the name. In the bottom right hand corner, it's already by default chosen a Word document format. Now you can choose different formats by clicking on the arrow and choosing one that you want. But for most people, to be fair, for anyone doing a document, you would want to save it as a Word document or as a PDF. So I'm going to click save, and that saved it like a Word document perfectly fine. But it's also closed it because I clicked on the X. I'm going to go to my documents folder, and to get to my file manager, I click on that folder looking icon below that has a magnifying glass. I'm going to click on it. It's going to open all my files, and I need to go to documents. So by default, it takes me to home straight away. I'm going to go to documents, and to open a folder, you don't need to double click. You can highlight a folder by clicking on the tick in the top left hand corner. But if you want to go into a folder, you simply click once because it comes up with that finger. I'm going to click once to go to documents. I'm going to double click on this to open it. See, that's the stuff I typed earlier. I'm going to go to file. I'm going to go to save as, and from the drop down list, I'm going to choose PDF. I'm only doing this to show you guys that this has the same functionality as Microsoft Office. This is completely free, and this is cross-platform, meaning that it works on Linux and it works on Windows as well. So if you're someone watching this and you want to stick to your Windows PC, you can download this completely free as well. I'm going to click on save. That saves my PDF. I can close this now. And if I go back to my documents folder, I've got two files now, test document as a Word document and test document as a PDF. If I double click on that, I've got my PDF open. That works perfectly fine. So now I'm going to show you guys how to connect to your network attached storage. You need to know your IP address and the name of your network share. So for me, mine is called Nasberry. What I'm going to do is simply click in the search bar at the very top, and I'm going to type in SMB because I'm using a Samba file share. So SMB Samba, SMB : / then the IP address. My IP address is going to be 192.168.0.160. And I'm going to do a / again, then simply type the name of my network share, NASBERRY 2, Nasberry 2. That's the name of mine. I believe I'm using Open Media Vault, but I honestly don't remember. So I'm going to press enter on this. It comes over this login screen here, and I'm going to leave it as anonymous and click connect. And there you go. I've connected to my network attached storage from this PC, and I can drag files from my laptop, from my PC, from my phone, and they will show up here as well. I'm going to double click on this Runs Tech Hub logo here just to bring it up, see what it looks like. Perfect. I'm going to copy this, so right click, go to copy. I'm going to go to downloads, where's downloads here. I'm going to right click on a blank space and choose paste. That's been copied perfectly okay. I'm going to double click on it to open it, and yep, everything works perfectly fine. I'm going to go down to settings here. So this is a settings icon, the gear or cog icon. If it's not down here, if you've removed it by accident, what you can do is go to application at the top left hand screen. You can go there, you can scroll through until you find settings. It's actually called system settings. Click on that, and if you go through, I'm not going to go through everything on here because I don't think I need to for most people. Again, updates will pop up on your screen, and when they pop up, you can click on them to install them. In the top right hand corner of your screen, you have some icons there. I'm going to start from the very right. The first one is like scaling stuff for your screen. So if I drag this back, the text will get smaller, but because it's on screen, it would be a really good idea for me to have it that big or even that big, which might be overkill, but now you can see everything on screen clearly. For someone like me who's blind as a bat, this is a good option. The next next option is just some notifications. It tells me I have a few updates, I've installed a few things. You have a do not disturb mode here as well, so you can turn this on if you don't want to be disturbed. Next, I've got Bluetooth. I've got mine on. I don't need it on, so I'm going to turn it off by simply clicking on the toggle here. I've got a wired connection at the moment, but my Wi-Fi is still on, so I'm going to turn my Wi-Fi off by clicking on this toggle here. Next, I have my sound. So this is my default. Just like with anything else, you can drag this up and down to increase the volume. And finally, we have the night light setting. So if you drag this to the right, the screen will get noticeably more orange to try and mimic sunlight. But I'll leave mine for now. I think that's it. There's not much else I can show you about this operating system. As I said before, it looks very macOS-ish. If you like macOS, this is a perfect operating system for you. You will get good compatibility as well, because I believe this is either based on Ubuntu or Linux Mint, which are two very good operating systems as well. So whatever you plug in should just work fine, hopefully. But whatever, if it doesn't work, whatever fixes are in line for Ubuntu or Linux Mint should work on here as well. The last thing I need to show you guys how to do is how to shut down. So top right hand corner, again, that very last icon on the top right, you click on it, you have some icons down here. So I am going to go to the first one is system settings down here, suspend, lock screen, or we have shutdown. And just to show you how much like macOS this is, when you move your mouse over a lock screen, it actually gives you the macOS command key and not the Windows flag. So they literally just copied stuff from macOS. I'm going to click on the power button. I have restart, cancel, and shutdown. I'm going to choose shutdown, and this system will turn off. Thanks for watching. Hopefully that was useful to someone. Stay tuned, there's more incoming.